Welcome to ABL Advisors video series featuring thought leaders from the commercial finance industry. I'm Mike Toglia, the publisher of ABL Advisor, and today my guest is Andy McGee, the Vice Chairman of White Oak Commercial Finance. Thanks very much for being here today, Andy.
Mike, thanks very much for having me. It's good to see you again.
It's good to see you as well. I'm glad you're doing well. What I'd like to do is start into the topic of our discussion today, which is about the most recent announcement that came out that White Oak Commercial Finance is expanding into the retail sector. With that, I'm just going to go right into the first question for you, Andy, and that is that this announcement came out in mid-July. And you announced that there was a national expansion of the retail offerings that White Oak Commercial Finance is providing, and it's named the National Retail Finance Group. Can you tell me what's behind the timing of doing this, making this announcement now? Basically, why now? Why not 3 months ago? Why not 3 months from now?
Look, that's a great question, and as you know, timing is everything in this market, and the ability to pull together a really good, high-quality team is the key to success, and has been for us for years. We added Bill Kearney to the White Oak team earlier this year, and we asked Bill to perform basically a dual function, which was to start up the retail group and get our strategy up and running, at the same time helping us to increase our presence in the Southeastern marketplace. And when we got into the late spring, early summer, we felt like we had built the infrastructure and the team to really deliver on the retail product that we had envisioned on a national scale. And Bill's the key to that. He's got background at CIT, he's got background at Encina. We felt like there was enough transition going on in the business that it would present great financing opportunities for us. And one of the things that we do at White Oak, not just in the retail area, but across all of our products, is we try and provide the most flexible financing to companies that may be in transition, whether that's an industry transition, whether that's an ownership transition, whether that's a business strategy transition. So we felt like with COVID running through and everybody trying to figure out what was going to happen, that having a really good deep bench would allow us to serve the retail client and provide really good financing for them.
Okay, great. Thanks for the explanation. I appreciate that. One of the things that, and my recollection is that I believe that White Oak Commercial Finance provided retail financing already, but this is an expansion of that. How is this going to differ from what you were offering in the past? I mean, is there a difference in it's just a scope of size of the team? Is that what this is about? And will this team be working very closely with other parts of White Oak, providing all different types of financing, whether it be commercial real estate or different types of working capital loans, term loans? Will you be partnering with those groups as well?
So that's a great lead in for me. White Oak has one of the largest domestic factoring companies, and we've had a long history in that business. So we have a great view into the retail industry from that side of the equation with, Bob Gerbich's background in there. And we've got Charlie Scharf and Martine Efron in New York, and we've got Gino Clark out on the West Coast. So we've had that coverage model for quite some time, but adding Bill to that equation allows us to attack the retail market from a different side and allows us to broaden the credit availability to those clients. So it is a broadening of the mandate that White Oak already had. We think it gives additional solutions to our clients as it relates to working capital solutions. Your comment or question about other parts of White Oak, we are going to partner with our commercial real estate folks. We are going to partner with our term loan, cash flow term loan team members when the opportunity exists. So we look at this as just kind of the linchpin to be able to deliver all the way through the capital structure for that retail client.
Okay, thank you. Now, as far as the team itself, and I know you mentioned Bill, and there's obviously others on the team as well that we know from the press release. How about the credit underwriting side? I mean, are you expanding that side of it as well, Andy, or in operations, or is it all part of what was already existing as a team?
We've expanded our credit underwriting team. We've added 4 people this year to that team, and we're always looking for great talent. So, if we run into additional people, we'll add them to the team. We have some folks that already have some background in retail, so that's very, very helpful. But we're adding underwriters and experience to that team. So it continues to be a broadening of the team, a deepening of the bench, and allowing us to perform other functions.
And as far as the targeted transactions and the profile of the companies that you're targeting, the retailers that you're targeting, are we looking mostly at middle market players for this group?
When you think about White Oak now, with being able to use the legacy group at White Oak, and now adding on Bill, I think you can think about us as everything from a $500,000 factoring relationship up to a $250 million transaction. So we can really play through the whole scope. And Bill's background, he's been involved in some of the largest retail financings that have taken place in this country, whether it was at CIT or in Cena. And we're going to take advantage of that network and background and go ahead and provide capital across the board.
Okay, great. So it's now switching a little bit as to what you think is happening out there in the environment. Obviously we all know that the retail sector has experienced some significant challenges over the past year. What trends do you anticipate seeing? I mean, we're seeing a resurgence right now, but do you anticipate any trends of this continuing? What's in your mind as it pertains to the retail group? I'm assuming that it's going to grow because you're building out the group, but what are your thoughts on that?
Well, if you think about the industry, right, 2021 is just going to be a boom year, whether you're a brick and mortar retailer or an e-commerce retailer or some combination thereof. So 2021, everybody's going to be a winner. Most of the consolidation that was going to take place over the next 2 to 3 years got pushed back and took place during COVID. So we really had a washing out of players that probably weren't going to make it over the long run. And now we're left with the players that are going to survive. 2021, as I said, will be a growth year. We think 2022 reverts back to a more normal growth, although we'll see that move more into the e-commerce side. We think that's going to be a 20+% growth area. You're going to have a little bit of a decline in the brick and mortar, but we think the brick and mortar is looking at it and they're changing their strategies, anything from curbside pickup to other ways to be more hands-on in their delivery to the client when they come into the store. So we think there's a future for both. We think outdoor retail, specialty areas that are being built are going to be very successful. They tend to have something that draws you there, whether it's a restaurant or other amenities that make it a place of destination for people. The traditional mall is going to be a very difficult place to be. And we'll wait and see how that plays out over the years. But we think that's another spot of transition for us.
Yeah, and that's interesting because I was going to ask you about the brick and mortar side because things have changed an awful lot in that side of it. However, you will be pursuing those brick and mortar opportunities, obviously. I mean, you're looking for a mix of e-commerce and brick and mortar, but do you anticipate, besides the malls, which have faced significant challenges, do you anticipate brick and mortar continue to be a decent marketplace for you folks to be playing in?
We do. We think it's going to be a good place. We just think the delivery method is going to be changing over the years, whether that's the ability to go into that store and touch and feel the merchandise and then order it and have it delivered to your home, or it's going to be curbside pickup, something like that for the brick and mortar, or the more specialty destination focused outdoor mall. So we think those are great areas to be in. But everything that we do has to have some sort of e-commerce focus to it. We think the ability of a retailer to stand alone, brick and mortar, no e-commerce strategy, those days are past us. And we'll look at everybody that we do business with to understand what their e-commerce strategy is.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see how things are evolving at this point. Now your team is assembled, they're ready to run, you're building that team out. So when you think about your goals for the National Retail Finance Group over the next 5 years, where do you see the group? What are you looking for?
I don't know that I want to put a dollar outstanding on our loan balances, but what I want to do is have the reputation in the marketplace that says, if you're going to do a retail financing, you need to come to White Oak and you need to hear what White Oak has to say about that opportunity. Whether we can do it for you or not, we want to be the first call. We want to be the people that provide the most information to you and can be a real financing partner for you. And that's really, if in 5 years we haven't reached that goal, then we haven't achieved what we want to out of this group. If we're that first call, we'll win more than our fair share of transactions, and we'll be able to deliver value.
Okay, and my last question may be a difficult question for you, Andy, to answer, but I'll ask it anyway. There's been a lot of discussion in the market right now about supply chain issues. Supply chain issues are impacting every industry, basically, we can talk about today. But are you anticipating supply chain to be a continued problem for the retail sector over the next 6 months, or do you see this starting to, level itself off in some ways? It might be a difficult question to answer.
That's not an easy question to answer, especially given the new mask mandate that's going on and what's the next step for that. But 6 months, we're probably going to still be working through the supply chain issues that we have. It seems to us that it's starting to get back a little bit to normal. You've seen the price of lumber come back down, so that's a great sign. You've seen other parts of retail be able to pull product through. But I do think we're in for, continue to have our challenges over the next 6 months. And hopefully we've battled this virus enough that at the end of 6 months, we'll be heading into a real period of normal distribution, and everybody's going to be, fully stocked and able to get product when they need it.
Okay, great. Well, Andy, that wraps up the questions I had for you about your new group and what you foresee in the retail sector. Is there anything I left out that you wish I had covered today?
The only thing I would say is, one, thank you very much for the time. I appreciate you allowing us to tell our story about our new retail effort. The one thing I would say is, White Oak delivers a lot of capital to the market through various verticals, whether that's the lender finance vertical, the traditional asset-based vertical, an ABL with stretch, maybe it's aviation, maybe it's equipment finance, maybe it's cash flow term loan. I'd like for everybody that hears this, if you have a financing or you have an issue that you'd like to discuss, think about White Oak. We'll give you our best thoughts, and we'll help you find the right solution.
That sounds great, Andy. Thanks very much. And again, thanks for your time today. It's great seeing you again. We haven't seen each other quite a while, but thanks for making the time and sharing your thoughts with our viewers today. And I'll look forward to catching up with you maybe early part of next year, see how things are shaking out and what you think about the sector at that point as well.
All right, Mike, thank you very much. I appreciate your time. Look forward to seeing you again.
Thanks, Andy.
All right.